Check 1 2, check 1 2. I think my microphone is ready. Let's get the camera going. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Swancentric Media with Mike B. It's been a minute since I've done a live. It's been actually, I think it's been since June 10th, and there has been a tremendous amount of goings on in the world with me, with everything. So I wanted to put together a show tonight, and we're just going to simply call it the catch-up show. And as you can see, I've done a little bit of rebranding here, but the Swancentric vision, the Swancentric initiative continues, and it will continue to move forward under whatever circumstance that you know that I have to meet. But I am glad to be back. I'm glad to be back talking to online. I love being online. It's therapeutic to me. I have to make sure I focus on the camera there. It's therapeutic to me, and I enjoy doing it. Just wanted to just catch you up going back to my last live. I do believe since the last live, um, I this was right on the cusp of the Israeli-Iran conflict, and there was a lot going on at that point. Most of the airlines stopped. I believe the actual airport closed down for about a week or two, about a week or so, maybe a little bit longer. And my partner Swanee T, who currently lives in Israel, it really put a caused a this big barrier to come between us because of the travel situation, because we're actually making summer plans to travel. Either me there or her to to the U.S. She really looks forward to coming to the U.S. and I enjoy having her here. So things really have not come. Things are trying to kind of get back to normal now for air travel, and but prices are extremely high. That's number one. Number two, most of the international carriers have not fully returned. So their national carrier, which is LL, and maybe a couple of others, have kind of continued to keep the air traffic flowing, but not so as much to the United States, and most certainly to a very minimal extent to the California area. So that's been problematic. And I was just looking today because I've been looking for things to kind of calm down with pricing and airlines, but I'm hearing so much in the media these days about aircraft that are having issues, aircraft that are turning around, aircraft that are being diverted, all kinds of mechanical situations that are happening with the aircraft. Not only that, of course, right before this conflict, there was a situation in Newark, New Jersey. We actually purchased tickets through United Airlines, who they canceled those tickets. We got a refund for that, but Newark had big issues. So all this was we actually had full momentum with making this travel situation happen, and just all these barriers, all these blocks have just have come down. So I don't know what's going on with the Newark situation, but I do know that a lot of carriers have not returned to Israel, but they are in the process of doing so. I think I saw something today that was about $900 for a flight from Tel Aviv to California. That was like two stops, and it was like 23 hours. So of course you're going to go jump through all these hoops to get a fairly reasonable ticket. That was $900, but on the high end of that, that could be 21, 22, 23, up to $2,500. So we're still looking at that. But in any case, we must not give up hope. We must keep hope alive, and we must continue to persevere and push forward. So, just wanted to put that out there that despite the stumbling blocks, um, strong will remains strong. So that's that. And the other thing is the other a not so personal topic was this has been a very emotional week, very emotional week and a half for me because someone that I've been knowing for almost 30 years passed away. And I guess you can, someone that's close to being almost a relative to me, for sure, my children's relative, their uncle. But I've been knowing him for 30 years, and death happens, in life. Death is a part of life, but it's this. I won't mention his name or anything like that, but it's under the circumstance in which this death occurred. Like myself and about a gazillion other people around the world, we get up every day and go to work. Okay, we get up, we take a shower, we brush our teeth, we eat our breakfast, we pack up our lunch, and we hit the road every day. And his day was no different than any other day. And he had his own business, and he did um, he was an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur. He had his own business, and he did landscaping, masonry, carpentry work, gardening work for his clients. Had his own business over 30 years, maybe longer. He was only 61, and he was. I don't know what we really don't know the facts about what is actually happening because it's an active case. So I don't know anything, but I do know that it was a senseless death. Apparently, he was run over, and he was run over executing his job duties. Putting some equipment away, or putting some things, his tools away. It was just arbitrarily, you know. So that is about all we all know. But despite all that, there was a funeral. There was a Catholic mass services. People that I had not seen in about 5 or 6 years. I saw them. Family. On my kids' family. People that that I've been knowing for so many times. So it was almost like a family, like a reunion of sorts, and very emotional. Very just it got me wondering about what is actually the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? For most of us, we get up for all of us, we get up and we want to live a productive life. We want to do the right thing. We want to earn an honest wage for a day. We want to put money into our retirement and bank accounts. We want to send our kids through college. We want to have good medical benefits. We want to have good retirement benefits. We want to have family get-togethers. We want to enjoy good quality time with family. We want to take vacations. We want to if we don't want to do anything, we want to just stay at home and thank God that He's given us another a day on this planet. And because of that situation, I was really wondering, what are we really here for? And I won't get into all that, but I'll just say it's been a very emotional week, having to deal with, these particular type of losses. So that's number two, not so personal topic that I wanted to talk about. I'm just kind of riffing a little bit just on things that have been pressing me lately. The big topic is yesterday and today. There's been a lot of this ICE enforcement. Well, in California, and I know that back on June 10th, um, I did a series of little short segments on the uh, protesting that was happening in downtown LA. Subsequent to after that, they implemented curfews in the city, which suppressed a lot of the shenanigans that was happening during that time, vandalism, tagging, destroying property. So that got slowly but surely under control. They put that on. But this thing is still continuing to happen, around the region, actually around the country, situations that are happening. And I want to talk to you a little bit today because um, I do have a history of understanding how the law works from a law enforcement perspective. Um, for the people that we're not talking about the protesters, we're talking about the people that are on the front line that are doing the enforcement. Okay, they're regular people just like anybody else. And I know that the last show that I did, I showed a couple of clips about some Congress officials. I think it was Maxine Waters, and there was another senator that was arrested. Um, uh, I think he was handcuffed and slammed to the floor or something. I forget. A local representative in California, and of course there was Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, who was the mayor of Los Angeles. And they're saying we want ICE out of here. We want ICE out of here. We want to stop the enforcement. We are, against the Trump administration, and we want ICE out of here. I want everyone to understand one thing, okay? The people that are doing the enforcement are doing nothing more than doing their job, okay? The National Guard that were called up, the Marines that were called up, the ICE agents and other enforcement and border patrol, etc., were called up and they're doing their job. They probably hate doing what they're doing, just like everybody else. We take no enjoyment out of doing executing what's happening. We take no enjoyment of seeing this happen. But these people are doing nothing more than doing their job. I have first-hand experience in knowing that. Not only that, I have people that are being very close to me in my life that actively do it or have actively done it, and they are very well versed in law, specifically immigration law. So I want everyone to understand that attacking. I want to share a couple of clips, and then we're going to talk about the law, and I just want to put things in proper perspective. And I'm not here to give you the solution, but what I am saying is going after the ground people that are on the ground doing the job. That's not where you should be. It should be the people that pass the laws, because all they're doing is following the law. So you should be talking to your lawmakers, your Congress officials about changing law, not fighting the people, the regular people that are just like everybody else. So if you're gonna go somewhere and protest, it should be in Washington D.C., which is where they pass laws. So, but I want to show you a clip here that's been surfacing that's very active and very relevant of a situation that happened yesterday. Let me share that with you. There's no audio, just all video. So this is This is ICE officials. Salute, by the way. ICE officials having the vehicles bombarded with rocks. This was a raid of sorts that was in Camarillo, California. I believe it was some type of uh, illegal grow house of sorts, allegedly, some type of grow house. But in any case, it was an ICE raid. And I say they're just trying to get away. Okay. And again, this is footage today. I just see just absolutely horrible footage of vandalism from civilians attacking um, federal officials that are doing nothing more than doing their job. Of course, they had to deploy some tear gas and things like that to get things under control. But they, again, this is actual footage of the situation that happened a couple of days ago. So on Thursday, actually. So this should not be happening. So what I want to do is kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about. Let me see if I can bring this up really quick. I want to talk about. I want to talk about the legal authority of Border Patrol and immigration officials that are doing this particular type of work. Okay. Um, so if you're first of all, Border Patrol, ICE agents are immigration officers, which means that when you cross the border or you go to an international exit point at an airport and you pass through passport control, Border Patrol agents and ICE agents have the same authority. They go through the same training and they go through the same school. Okay. Um, and so they have the authority to execute immigration laws anywhere in the country. So no, so I know that it's really uncommon to see green uniforms and Border Patrol vehicles in the inner cities. We see them in the San Diego area quite often because it's next to the border, but you don't see them as far north in Los Angeles and areas past Los Angeles so often. I think at one time there was a checkpoint in San Clemente and in Temecula, going in Temecula, but that was probably about, I would say, uh, 40 miles from the Mexican border. So we never really saw them past that. But now they are past that in the inner cities of Los Angeles, about 120 miles away or so. But they have the authority because they are immigration officers to execute these laws. And that's number one. They can execute these laws. They have the authority to do so. I'm going to go back here. Now, I want to point out this slide right here. So, I was once a military police officer. I also worked on a federal Indian reservation, and I also worked for the Department of Justice. Okay, I've had those positions working in law enforcement. Not careers, but little stenches throughout my career. And we all exercise one specific protocol. If you enter, so we'll just talk about enter the United States. If you enter the United States and you're at a border or a port of entry, you have no constitutional rights at a land border. Okay, and you have to be admitted by an immigration official. You have to go through passport inspection to be admitted into the country, and then you have rights. You have your constitutional rights. But at a port of entry, until you are admitted into the country, you have no rights. Now, it also applied to military bases. As a military police officer, I know a few times we tried to execute search and seizure on vehicles that were that we had not admitted to the military installation. Until you authorize that vehicle to come onto the military installation, you have no right to search that vehicle to do so. Also, on the Indian reservations, they have exclusive jurisdiction to do to execute search and seizure and things and that type of enforcement. But outside the reservation, you can't do it unless you're on the property. So it applies to the United States as well. If you're at a port of entry, at the port of entry gate, until they admit you to come in and say that you're allowed to come in, and we're not talking about American citizens, we're talking about people that are trying to come visit the country. Until you're admitted, you do not have those constitutional protections. So that's number one. So, in theory, if you come across the United States in illegally, if you bypass the port of entry, see where it says entering or attempting to entering or attempting to enter the U.S. at a non-designated time or place, which means that you're trying to bypass the port of entry, evasion of examination or inspection by an immigration official, so you're trying to evade the inspection, or you're or obtaining entry through false or misleading statements or concealment of facts. And if these are all criminal acts that have, of course, consequences. But if you are here illegally, then what you've done was you are still considered a person outside the United States because you have not been properly admitted. Now, there are certain things if you're coming in illegally. There are certain things that need to be known as well. For example, if you're crossing at a point beyond the checkpoint, there clearly must be signs that are posted that are saying you are crossing from one international country into the United States. And once you cross into that area, that's where the federal government has the authority to execute its power. But signs are typically posted in these areas, these remote areas. There's one for Canada at our northern border. These are southern border signs that are posted along the border that tell you that you're currently crossing from one area into another area. And when you cross into this area without, keyword is without inspection, you're there illegally and you're unauthorized. So what does that mean? Okay, let's talk about what that means. Going back to what I was saying earlier about the ICE officials doing nothing more than doing their job. I want to bring this slide up because I want you to understand the other side of the picture here. Federal law enforcement oath of office. I've taken this maybe 3 times in my life, okay? Federal law enforcement officers take the oath to uphold the Constitution and faithfully execute their duties. This sacred commitment represents their pledge to support and defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, while enforcing laws with integrity and serving the community impartially. That is an oath that every federal law enforcement officer takes. Not only that, every military person, every Coast Guard person, every federal law enforcement person, every the federal correctional officer, anyone who's charged with any type of authority must take this oath of office. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? You know, well, it means that if you take this oath and you violate this oath, penalties for violation of the oath is violating the oath can be a felony. It is a felony under the U.S. Code Title 18, Section 1918. Removal from office is a penalty, fines, or imprisonment, or imprisonment. Dereliction of duty. If you're in the military, there's a court-martial, dishonorable discharge, a forfeiture of pay, persecution of federal crimes, and other criminal charges. I won't go all through. This is the criminal side. Then you have the whole administrative side, which is not even in, that doesn't even trump the criminal the side of things. So by those, so going back to what I was saying, if Maxine Waters or any government officials are standing saying, "ICE, go home, ICE, go home," they can't go home because they would be in there will be dereliction of duty. They have orders to go by. They have orders that they're given to do their job. And by doing so, they put their families in harm's way. They lose their homes. They can't support their families. They go to jail. So it's a no-win situation for the people that are on the front line doing their jobs. Why isn't anyone talking about that? You should be talking about it because we're victims like anyone else is. It's that we're caught in the middle of this fiasco. But we're not. But it's you have to understand that it's not personal. If you have a problem with what is happening, you have to go beyond the troops in the field, the frontline individuals, and go to the top. Plain and simple. And again, every law enforcement officer or every military official has to take this oath, and it goes, "I do solemnly swear to affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take the obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office for which I am to do." The only person who gets exempted from that are elected officials, by the way, the president and other elected officials. So, and this is constitutional. So I wanted to really put that out there so that you see the other side of the coin here. And trust me when I tell you that the enforcement officials out there are not taking great joy and pride in doing their job because there's humanism involved here. There's humanism involved, and it probably goes against everything that they morally, the key word that they morally stand for. But right now, you have to take morals and push them out the window right now because they have a job to do. And I'm sure there are many of us out there that have had to do jobs in the past that we didn't want to do, but we did them anyway because it was our job to do that job. And I'm talking about anything short of killing someone, unless someone's trying to kill you. But I'm just saying, enforcing the law as they're as what they've been instructed and what they're paid to do and what they took the oath to do. That's the other side of the story, guys. So we have to look at everything, and we have to stop tearing up our cities, tearing up our inner cities, tearing up vehicles, hurting one another. And if you want to spark change, then you have to take that up with your elected officials so that they can change the laws. They have to change the laws. That's where the change happens, the law. Because all these guys are enforcing the law. The laws have to change. So I hope this impromptu show has been informative of sort. And again, I I am not a fan of what's happening, but I wanted to show that the people that are out enforcing the law are just like anyone else, and they take no enjoyment in doing what they're doing. They're just trying to pay their bills and support their families as well. With that being said, I look forward to doing more, delivering more content to everyone. And again, this is Swancentric Media with Mike B, and I look forward to the next show. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for staying up late, and I'll see you soon.